Just start this video with the Beatles watching Hermie. Focus. There they are. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I am kind of different from normal. I'm doing this from the vlog approach. I'll explain why after the intro, but I thought, why not? Let's change it up. In all seriousness, I'm kind of having to rush today, so I thought just launching the camera up on a daft tripod that fits in my hand would be a lot quicker and a lot more efficient than setting up the whole lighting rig and the actual tripod. Look, it's basically me saying I couldn't be bothered, but I'm going to give my thoughts anyway towards tomorrow's game against Motherwell at Celtic Park. We go again, and as I said in the last match preview, games are flying in thick and fast. We're going to have to get used to this now from now until the end of the season. And look, usually I'd welcome it. I said this exact same thing in the last preview. Usually I'd welcome the whole, games every third or fourth day, but right now it's just not what you want to see. But we've got a bit of confidence to try and build on. We've got a bit of encouragement from our last performance, so we can hopefully carry on from that 4-0 win at Rugby Park against Motherwell tomorrow. But it's not going to be easy. Motherwell are a team who, yes, as well, over the past 2 months or so have been in a bit of a, I say 2 months, all season, they've been in a bit of a rut. But they've picked up in the last couple of games. It's certainly not going to be easy pickings for Celtic tomorrow, even though we're at home, we're at Parkhead. Now, so far this season, our home form has been absolutely shambolic. We've been, the fear factor from Celtic Park is well and truly gone. And say what you will, there's many reasons for that. I think, obviously, no fans being there is crazy. It makes a huge difference. I think it takes away a lot of the same sort of intimidation that was there for opposition teams. But when you just get down to the bare bones of it all, the team are just down and out. The management is down and out. There's so many reasons for how poor we've been this season. There's no point in using excuses in empty stadiums because every team's had to play with an empty stadium. But the fear factor is well and truly gone this season at Celtic Park. I no longer look at a game like Motherwell, a Saturday 3 o'clock at Parkhead and go, well, that's 3 points, because look what happened last week against St Mirren, look what's happened throughout the entirety of the season, look at Ross County patting us out the cup. Celtic Park is a place that teams have came to with a lot of ease now. And going into this game, I think that everything kind of points in the direction that things, Motherwell would like. Their last couple of performances have shown that. I am confident we can go and win and build off that 4-0. I think the 4-0 has probably gave myself a little bit more confidence that we will now go on a bit of a run. Fingers crossed. But let's talk about Motherwell for a second. In the last couple of performances, and especially against Dundee United in their last game, Motherwell didn't have a huge share of the ball. They took their chances going forward. I think they had something like 30% possession. They took their chances on the counter-attack and they scored goals. It's what teams need at Celtic Park. It's what teams want at Celtic Park. They all go to Celtic Park knowing they're not going to have the ball. That's the reality of when a team comes to our stadium. They expect Celtic to try and dominate the tempo of the game and hold the ball for the majority of it. But how have we conceded goals this season? Well, mostly from set pieces and cross balls, but a lot of counter-attacks. And Motherwell have got dangerous players in the counter-attack, and I'm sure that Graham Alexander will be well set up and ready to take advantage of a poor Celtic back line. So that's the worrying thing for me heading into this game. But we'll talk about Celtic for a minute because we've got a special guest who's going to talk about Motherwell. Well, there was a lot of positives for me against Kilmarnock, and look, I've already done my 3 things we've learned, so I don't need to recap the whole game, but let's carry on from that performance. Yes, I still think they were poor defensively in the sense that we did allow them a few easy chances, which a better side would have converted. I think the boy Rossi had a couple of chances he should have had in the back of the net. A bit of luck was on our side, but if you look at the majority of the game, that over the 90 minutes, Celtic were in cruise control. That's the reality of it. We dominated the game, we had the ball, we dictated the tempo. Motherwell's chances came from quick breaks and cross balls, which is, of course, our well-known weakness. But apart from that, look, Edouard looked back to his best. Yet he did look sharp at points in the game. I think the midfield looked good. We were just really good, I think, overall in the park. John Joe Kenny made a huge difference on that right-hand side. And it was just a well-done performance. It was one of the better ones of the season. Now, Celtic have had, quite a consistent... consistently let me down with this sort of moment. They've done well in a game when I thought, right, this is us, we're ready to kick on now, we're ready to go and start a run of form from this, and then they go into a game like Motherwell at Celtic Park and then they lose or they drop points. You know, that has become expected from Celtic at this point. That's a really frustrating part about this season, because there's been so many positive performances, and one of those performances was actually against Motherwell at Fir Park back in December. We had a fantastic performance there. We won the game quite convincingly, and I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, if we can start playing like this, we have a chance to get ourselves back in the title race, and then, you know, we go on to do what we've done. So it is annoying. Motherwell will come with confidence, quite rightly, because they know that they are on paper better sides than the likes of St Mirren, better sides than the likes of Ross County, and if they can come to Celtic Park and get a result, they can. But we need to pick up from these positives that we've shown against Kilmarnock. We're throwing them out the window time and time again. Consistently, we need to do these things that we're doing right in one-off games. Let's stop making one-off games and let's make it consistent. I'm now going to switch over to the special guest, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Stevie. Stevie's going to come on and talk about his team, and I'll drop all his stuff in there. We'll talk about it afterwards. We'll drop all his stuff in the description, and you can go check him out. Good guy.
Hello Ryan, thank you for asking me to do this. A wee prediction on Celtic v Motherwell at the weekend. If you would have asked me last week before the Ross County game, I would have probably been thinking we were going into this one with no chance. We were 13 games without a win. But in our last 2 games, we've seen an upturn in form. We've been hitting teams on the counter attack really well, and we've been taking our chances, which is something that I think is going to be vital for us on Saturday if we're going to get anything from the game. We're going to need to keep it tight at the back, particularly for the first 30 minutes. We all know the threat that David Turnbull poses. We've seen that in a Motherwell shirt, and obviously they've got odds on Edward as well. But apart from they two, I look at the Celtic team and I'm like, we can deal with every other threat that you've got, especially if we keep it tight. I think we've seen this season that Celtic tend to run out of ideas, and hopefully that's when we can start to get a bit of joy. The link up between our front three last night against Dundee United was outstanding. Tony Watt looks back to the Tony Watt that you would have seen at Celtic. He looks a much better player than he did last season. And Chris Long is looking to his best, and then you get Demanti Cole. He's got 4 goals in 5 games, so we pose a lot of threat going forward. It's just whether we can keep it tight at the back. So as for my prediction, if we keep it tight, I'm going to go for us to nick a 1 each draw. If not, if Celtic scored early, unfortunately for us, I think they'll run out 3-0 winners on Saturday. But no, we'll see what happens, and all the best of luck for the rest of the season. Or should I say patience, because that's what you need watching your team now. Cheers, mate.
So thanks Stevie for coming on. I was also on Stevie's channel giving my kind of preview to the game too and my thoughts ahead of it alongside him. So please make sure to check him out, go and subscribe, drop a like, all that good stuff, and you can hear some more opinions on the game over there. We talk a lot about the future of Celtic, the ambition of Celtic, Dominic Mackay coming in and such. So it's a good conversation to be had, to be listened to I should say, over on Stevie's channel. So make sure to check it out. Team and scores predictions. Look, I think the team's going to look the exact same. Yeti, of course, suspended. And let's talk about that very briefly for a minute. Look, a lot of people, of course, it's been a big week in terms of refereeing decisions. Rangers fans were kind of losing the plot towards, and I'm not going to add that's kind of an umbrella term, but you know, there was that tweet from Rangers on consistency, which was brought up after, of course, Celtic went on to score an offside goal and been given a crooked penalty after, you know, there was complaints about Morelos the game against Hibs, and then there's been a whole week of refereeing. Kmart Roof goes on. It's been back and forth between the two sets of very fickle fans. You know, we're both as bad as each other. But look, Yeti out for 2 games. That's 2 game suspension, which I don't understand, quite frankly. Look, I am not denying he went down very lightly, right? And I'm not denying he shouldn't have rolled around the way he did. Penalty could have been harsh, but look, he's been banned for 2 games for simulation. Simulation means no contact and all the rest of it. There was contact there. He had the right to go down. We know nowadays in the modern game that is a penalty. I don't like that it's a penalty. I'll say that, right? But that is a penalty, because in the modern game, anything with contact in the box becomes a penalty. You can say all you like about him going down the way he did and how light he goes down, how easy he goes down. And I for one, think that players are too guilty of going down, or guilty of going down too easy. I think that's reality of football now, but there is contact there, which means that he should be banned for 2 games. It's quite rightly stood the way it has. But it's over and done with now. A yet out for 2 games. Whether the appeal goes through or not, we have to wait and see. I'm not going to get overly fussed about it. It's not something that I want to debate about with the comment section all day. It's not going to keep me up at night. But apart from Ayeti being out, I think the team's got to stay much the same. I'd drop Brown again, bring Sorrow back into the team if possible. Apart from that, I think Bain will remain in goals and Kenny should keep his place, all the rest of it. I mean, why change something that won quite convincingly at Rugby Park? I think the team kind of picks itself after that game. And let's hope Edouard keeps scoring from open play. I think that's important. We keep him scoring for both, you know, try to keep his form as good as it can be till the end of the season. But of course, it's a player that we're probably going to move on this summer. We want to try and get as much money for him. So if he plays well, you know, that's a bonus for us, and hopefully it gets invested back in the squad under Dominic Mackay. But we'll wait and see. Score predictions. I think Celtic will win the game. I'm not expecting it to be convincing. As I said, Celtic Park has lost that sort of fear factor that it usually does have, and it usually makes these games relatively easy for Celtic. So I'm going to go for a closer one. I'm going to say 2-1 to Celtic. I think Motherwell will get a goal through whatever defensive mishap we may show. And that'll do it. Let me know what you think. I know it's been a quicker, more rushed one than usual, but I really am fucking struggling for time today. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you all next time.